Honestly, every time I hear something bad about a company, it's always either Ubisoft or EA. Like, they're one of the most successful AAA game companies, but they always just have like the worst people at the top making the decisions about games themselves. It may be June, but August is here, and today we're watching the Act-Man's video on whether Assassin's Creed Shadows is gonna be the next big hit for Ubisoft or just another cash grab. So let's sit back, relax, and just check it all out.
This is the Samurai Man here, and today, Ubisoft recently announced their newest Assassin's Creed game. Shadows the Hedgehogs. Nothing personnel, kid. Can you believe it?
Hey, we need a Shadow game. Oh, a Shadow game would be so good, especially with Sonic 3 coming out, and Sonic as a franchise is doing... Wait, no, a Shadow game is coming out! Oh my god, this is so off topic, but yes, we do have a Shadow game. Ah, the world is healing.
Finally going to Japan, a setting fans have been asking to go to for years, and the reaction has been entirely pleasant, unanimous praise. In fact, there is so little controversy to talk about that this is the end of the video. So thank you all for watching, hope you enjoyed. Leave a like if you did, and subscribe to the Samurai Man for more awesome content.
The most disliked trailer in the series history.
This hate that he's getting does not make any sense.
Yeah, Ubisoft is definitely rattling the cage with this one.
Man, I really wonder why people hate the character. It could be anything from his physique to... Now, I think it's just a physical thing. Let's be honest.
It's not just Assassin's Creed Shadows, though. If you look at Ubisoft's channel, every video they're posting is getting mass disliked. Twitter has been going off, and the Wikipedia...
Oh, yeah, they'd be warranted. People are just frustrated with Ubisoft as a whole now. That definitely is very valid. Like, what happened to Skull and Bones? Like, they hyped up so many people, and then, like, the rest of the community just knew, like, hey, there's no point. It's Ubisoft. Like, if it's not going to be, like, another successor to Black Flags, so it's not going to be a good naval game. They're not going to have a good game at all in general. But people still just keep believing in Ubisoft, so...
Wikipedia page for the protagonist Yasuke is a fucking war zone right now. There's a lot of heated debate around Assassin's Creed Shadows right now, which is weird because the trailer itself looks pretty damn good visually. So something else must be going on, something else is happening, and today we're gonna take a more nuanced approach to honestly answer the question, why are gamers upset with Assassin's Creed Shadows? Is everyone complaining about this game just gearing up for the next clan meeting? Probably not, but I am. See, there's a lot more to it than just a black samurai, you know? People are right to be skeptical of anything Ubisoft puts out these days, and that's reason number one. Ubisoft's reputation is kind of in the gutter. X-Defiant, their supposed COD killer, is also seeing a high percentage of dislikes on their recent trailer. Star Wars Outlaws, same deal. Skull and Bones, the first quadruple A game, and your ship has a stamina bar. So the dislikes on the Shadows trailer is not like an isolated incident. People aren't just upset with what they saw in the trailer, they're upset with everything Ubisoft has been doing recently. Like taking down online servers for this old racing game called The Crew. Instead of allowing fans to host their own fan servers and keep playing the game, Ubisoft is instead removing it from people's digital libraries and rendering physical copies unplayable. Yes, they certainly do want us to be comfortable with not owning our games. Oh, and by the way...
Honestly, every time I hear something bad about a company, it's always either Ubisoft or EA. Like, they're one of the most successful AAA game companies, but they always just have, like, the worst people at the top making the decisions about games themselves. Like...
You need an internet connection to play Shadows. Oh shit, wait, tell them they only need an internet connection to install the game. Crisis averted. This is just the tip of the iceberg. The second reason gamers are upset is Ubisoft's pricing model. Pre-order Assassin's Creed Shadows coming November 15th. Excuse me, have you pre-ordered yet? Pre-order now. Watch this trailer and don't forget to pre-order. Play 3 days early by pre-ordering any premium edition. What the fuck is Amazon Luna? Max with silicon? What the fuck? Pre-order now to get a bonus quest. Discover the gold and ultimate editions. Discover them. And pre-order. Learn more about how you can fucking pre-order it 100 times. Statue's kind of sick.
Why would you pay like an extra $20 just to play like one mission that's gonna last you what, max like 1 hour? Like, come on.
Sick though. Yeah, so for the same reasons people were upset with Outlaws, this pricing model is just not cool. It's not very Bushido of you, Ubisoft. Now, apparently Shadows is like the #1 pre-order game in Japan right now. I don't know how true this is, but if so, this is why we can't have nice things. Remember, no pre-orders. There's literally no point to it anymore. And also, like, a season's pass for a single player game. Are we in 2016 right now? What's happening? We're really going back to this? I can't think of any other game that still does a season pass. I just feel like there's something inherently scummy.
No. The last game I got a season pass for that I remember was Assassin's Creed Origins, which was, oh wait, how long ago was that game made? Yeah, you're still following your same model that's so outdated. Like, yeah, let's get like more mechanics or bosses and updates to the game at like more of a price. Like, they did really good with Valhalla, that they added so much more stuff to the game that was for free, slash like they added like a little bit extra stuff if you pay for the season pass, which was fine. But like, I just know they're not gonna follow the same formula by giving us so much free stuff that should have been in the game day one.
With opening up purchases for a game without showing any actual gameplay. So yeah, both Outlaws and Shadows are monetized in the exact same way, and nobody really likes it. Next reason, people are kind of bored of Ubisoft's game design. The huge open world filled with the same copy and pasted missions and side quests with tons of busy work and tedious grinding. Ubisoft's game and open world design is just too safe and by the books, and they have a bad habit of stretching out their titles to be way longer than they should. So this does kind of tie in with their reputation thing, but the earlier Assassin's Creed games took place in cities that were more condensed, which made a lot of the activities and the story, you know, closer together. A lot of it was still copy and pasted, but you didn't have to run so far to get to the next side objective or whatever. With their more recent titles, Ubisoft has been stretching out the runtime and the size of the open world, and it's not really making the games any better. It's the same reason a lot of people prefer Banjo-Kazooie over Tooie. I myself am a hardcore Tooie stan, but I get it. So fans are likely worried that this game will follow the same generic formula. I hope not. Now, with all this in mind, you can see how
Yeah, I definitely hope so, because like feudal Japan setting can be a very like small map that you just give us like a few cities and like a countryside to go to. Like, literally, I'm thinking Ghost of Tsushima. Like, Ghost of Tsushima had like a beautiful map. It was so great, but then if I want to go to point A to point B, it didn't take much. And then if it was like a long travel time, they added like so much like side stuff in between like my main pathway that I could get like easily distracted by. But Assassin's Creed, if you just give me a really huge Japanese map with point A to point C to point D to point E, and it's just mission after mission, that's definitely gonna fatigue me. Because when I play Assassin's Creed, there's a lot of times that I myself have to just find like random bosses or like objectives like to take out for myself. Like, the past titles hasn't really added that many like side quests like of your own. Like they have like missions, but like all the missions feel like main missions at this point, if you know what I mean.
There's automatically a bias against whatever Ubisoft releases because people simply do not have faith in them. They have a long history of anti-consumer practices and absurd monetization. But let's move on to the more controversial angle. Are gamers mad because Yasuke is black?
Black? Did you say black? You called him black?
He is black.
Oh, he said it again!
I mean, yeah, for some people, they're happily taking this opportunity to post racism. I mean, why wouldn't they? If you're a racist, you just got some great content to work with.
Oh, what the?
We're finally going to Japan. And I still gotta see you niggas. What?
The problem with trying to figure out who's trying to make a genuine point and who's just like taking this opportunity to be racist, it's like a guessing game, you know? Assassin's Creed Shadows, George Floyd's skin. Yeah, that's enough talking
Wait,
about
what?
that.
Oh my god, dude, really? Yeah, the racists just come out in droves. They were waiting for this.
Hopefully, this is only a small part of why gamers are mad. So there's two protagonists, the first one being Yasuke, who is a historical figure, a black samurai, allegedly the first black samurai in Japan, the first foreign samurai in fact. And the other is Nawe, a shinobi assassin. Now, Yasuke has been portrayed in a bunch of other media, but I've never seen any of these other shows or games generate even a fraction of the controversy that Shadows has. Why not star a native Japanese man? This is a good question and one certainly worth lifting an eyebrow. To my knowledge, most Assassin's Creed games star a fictional protagonist native to the setting, with any real historical figures being side characters or villains. And if I'm not mistaken, Shadows is the first game where you both play as a historical figure and it's someone not native to the setting. These 2 points have made some gamers suspicious of Ubisoft's intentions. Are they really choosing Yasuke because it's the best decision creatively and narratively? Personally, I think the idea has a lot of potential, but we'll talk about that later. The point is that some people see this as like a diversity checklist or something along those lines. However, like I said, Nawe is also native to Japan. So there is a native character that you can play as, but unfortunately, she's a woman. And women aren't real people, right, fellas?
No, for real though. Like, we still haven't even seen the game. Like, who knows how much like actual like story progression and missions that you have between each character? Like, is it gonna be equal balance? Are you gonna play more as a guy? Are you gonna play more as a girl? Like, is Yasuke only like gonna be mainly for like combat reasons? Like, I don't know. Am I gonna have to do stealth missions with it? Like, we don't know yet. So to be like, oh, I hate to play as this character, I never want to play as this character. Like, look at The Last of Us. The Last of Us 2 had a real great way of making you play as two separate characters. And yeah, it did drag on, and at some points I hated playing as Abby. But like, they really crafted a well-written story by doing it that way.
Yeah, this is something that a lot of the culture warriors online are not highlighting, that there is a native protagonist. So I personally don't see it as such a huge issue. I think all of the other pricing stuff and everything else that's wrong with Ubisoft is much more important to me as a gamer and not a culture warrior. Now, some folk will say, well, why not just go play Ghost of Tsushima or Sekiro or any other of the hundreds of Japanese samurai games that star a Japanese guy? Well, I think Assassin's Creed fans just want that same thing for their own franchise. For some people, I don't think it's really all that complicated. But then again, Ubisoft games are already too safe, so would it be too safe of a direction to just star a random Japanese guy? I don't know. People see Yasuke as evidence that there's an agenda being pushed, and while that could very well be the case, a lot of the people saying this right now are already saying this about 100 different things. Everything else has to be pushing an agenda when, you know, your content is based around that. For me, whether or not it's woke or pushing an agenda is going to come down to the writing and the storytelling, as it always does.
Right.
I think there's a really good example in the Battlefield 5 trailer where it's much more clear that something else was going on. It's actually the perfect counterpoint. Battlefield 5 is set in World War II and you want to have female representation? Lucky for you, there were like 1 million female snipers in the Russian army. But no, have this like weird British lady with a robot claw who keeps dying and coming back and is... So I think Battlefield 5 is more of a relevant example where you can extrapolate some kind of agenda being pushed. But you also have to remember that when Battlefield 1 was announced and people saw the cover art, they also had the same complaint. Why is there a black guy on the cover? Then the game came out and it was a fucking masterpiece and nobody ever talked about that again. Something simple.
Oh my god, yeah, dude, yeah, Battlefield had like a whole great like campaign storyline where you play as like a black regiment and like you literally like were like you were playing a mission where you were gonna die no matter how many times you defeated the waves. Like it was an endless wave. It didn't matter win or lose, you will die because as a black like regiment, like they did not care about you during it. Like you were this out there hanging to dry. That was such a great way to use representation in a story. Oh man, I really love that. That was actually one of like my very like recent like, ooh, I love the way that we just presented this like storyline to people that normally never heard about this type of thing.
Similar kind of happened with the Fallout show. There was this initial reaction to the trailer where they're like, oh, it's woke, Fallout's been destroyed, oh, it's terrible. And then the show came out and most people loved it. And most of the complaints people had with the show revolved around the lore and how that was handled.
Nah, people were mad because the main character was a woman and a side character was black.
So I think a lot of the people calling it woke and all that are just jumping to conclusions because that's kind of what their content revolves around. The next reason gamers are upset: Assassin's Creed Shadows isn't historically accurate. If you said something along these lines and you genuinely believe this statement, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt right now, and I think you're mistaking historical fiction for historical accuracy. They are not the same thing. Again, going back to Battlefield 1 and 5, historical accuracy is, okay, we've got this game set in World War II. Are we trying to make it feel like World War II? Are we trying to make it feel like World War I? The historical accuracy conversation is usually reserved for games that are like recreating battles that actually happened. Are the dates of certain invasions in World at War correct? Was there actually a battle on Peleliu? That's historical accuracy. Historical fiction is the story inserted into that setting. Like I said, when you're watching a trailer for a World War II game and some cyborg lady shows up, your brain is like, that shouldn't be there, and you feel weird. This argument does not apply to Assassin's Creed at all. In fact, that's like the entire point of the Assassin's Creed stories, that this is the history you haven't been told. Here's the real truth. And I've always felt,
Dude, yeah, I love that. Yeah, like, people getting so mad that Assassin's Creed isn't, like, true to form. Like, the whole point of the games are, this is things that you may have not realized that actually happened, that were so wild that you may not believe them be true. Like, that's a brilliant model. Like, as long as they don't, like, make it crazy with some mech android aliens from space zombies type thing, like, they can literally go in so many different directions. And that's what I love about Assassin's Creed, other than, like, the combat.
I felt Assassin's Creed was cathartic because you get to indulge in a conspiracy theory and see it presented to you. You get to watch it play out in the past and in the present. So Assassin's Creed not being historically accurate is like the fucking foundation of their story. It's like the premise of the entire franchise. So if you're complaining about historical accuracy, still at this point, it's hard to believe you have any experience with this franchise. Right, here's another example. JFK getting assassinated. That's a historical event. The way Umbrella Academy handles that historical event is historical fiction. It's taking this thing that happened or existed and creating your own story involved with it. Therefore, Yasuke not being historically accurate as a samurai is completely irrelevant because this is a fictional story in a real setting. It's historical fiction. Now, if we get a new trailer for Shadows and we see like samurais with jetpacks, you know, you guys are gonna have a real argument to make. But wait a minute, samurais with jetpacks? Has it been done before? Oh my god, it has!
Oh, wow.
Another reason gamers are upset with Shadows: Yasuke wasn't a samurai. This is pretty much just arguing semantics because we just established that Assassin's Creed is built on historical fiction, not historical accuracy. So whether or not he was is completely irrelevant. Personally, because his origins and his early life and even his original name are still unknown to us, from a narrative perspective, this opens a lot of doors creatively because you can come up with your own story about his life. Whether it's done well or not, and it's written in a compelling, interesting way, remains to be seen. And that will be the determining factor on whether or not we look back on this game as something that pushed an agenda and fucking sucked because it compromised its writing for that.
Right.
Or a story that was genuinely interesting because it presented this historical figure and wrote a story around them within the setting of Assassin's Creed. Also, the thing about Yasuke...
Yeah, like, if they can make a story so well written that makes people believe that, wow, this actually could have been, like, his real story, that's a win.
Okay, again, because he's very mysterious, is that he could have also worked as a side character or even a villain. When I saw this shot of him in the trailer with the flames, I was like, yo, he would be a pretty fucking cool villain, just visually, like the one black samurai. But then again, people might criticize Ubisoft and be like, oh, just the one black samurai, you decide to make a villain. So you're gonna have people talking shit no matter what.
True.
At the end of the day, what matters most is if the game is good.
Yep, no matter what, you will always be the bad guys. You are literally guilty until proven innocent in a lot of things these days.
Right? And if it's monetized properly. You know what would be really funny though is to make an Assassin's Creed game where it's set in a certain place and nobody is native. Like if they were all Mexican sombrero wearing samurais. That would be awesome. I want to see a game where everyone is just an unapologetic stereotype. So when it comes down to it, there are some...
It sounds like the South Park games.
valid questions to ask about Ubisoft's intentions. But I think the debate around whether Yasuke was a samurai, whether they're putting in a black samurai to get, you know, better DEI points or whatever, I think that conversation is not as important as how they're monetizing it and what else Ubisoft is doing and all the anti-consumer stuff. Remember, guys, no pre-orders, okay? But what do you think? Do you agree or disagree with what I had to say? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to The Act Man for more awesome content. Alright everyone, that's all I got for today. This is The Act Man, signing out. Peace!
Alright, so that was actually a very well done video. I definitely agree with all those bullet points, and I wonder what y'all think too, so let me know in the comment section. But so long, that's been it from August Shiro. Have a good day, make good choices, and I see y'all around for the next one. Peace!